Hey there! Finally got my tech running right. All right. So today I'm going to do something that's a little bit more laid back. I'm going to have you guys ride along while I do collage in a round robin altered book. So if you're familiar with the concept of a round robin, a bunch of people get together and they uh, have a project, and the project gets sent over and over to one person. The project gets sent from person to person to person to person until it comes back around to the original person. So what I am doing is I am collaging a page in my friend's altered book that she made from an album. All right. So you can see that Tali has sort of a sign-in page, and she also asked everybody who's participating to create a mini page in a mini book that has one of our favorite poems, or a poem that we've created ourselves. And so I've done that part. The part that I'm working on now is the page itself. All right, so this is what I've got so far. I'm working on this. I've worked on this front half, and I'm going to do the back half today. The theme of Tali's altered book is who am I? Who are you? So I've got references to things that have been significant in my life, with some of the symbols standing in for real people. For example, there is a Loteria card with the mermaid Loteria card. It's always been one of my favorites. And because I live up in Washington State, I have decided to give her an umbrella Loteria card. There's some wrappers from some fantastic chocolate that's made by a company called Omanheni. And this one in particular, this bit in particular, see the dragon there? Ah. That is how I've been feeling sometimes with all these isolation situations. So what I'm going to do now is get started. Alrighty then. So just gonna adjust the screen here. And all right, I think this time I will be able to see your comments. Okay. Alrighty then. Alrighty then. Alright, so let's try this. So just gonna adjust the screen here. Okay. And the cool thing about Polly's book is that she's created it from a bunch of old record album. So let's try this. Folders, which is really cool. And so I had been searching and searching this morning for the element I was going to put inside that. Okay. And I had gotten it. It had gotten lost for a little bit. Is that she's created? I finally found it. You might remember from this element that I showed you a couple of days ago. the images of my grandfather, my aunt, and my mother. My mom's the baby, and it's printed in the it's printed and cut in the shape of a butterfly wing. For the element I was going to put so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage of this for a little bit cutout that would usually be for the album element that I information. I'm gonna fit the butterfly wing right about here. And the thing that I like about this is that when somebody else does something in the later pages, that will show through a little bit. I'm going to take advantage in this the background. That would usually be for the album. Let me see if I can't show you that a little bit better. Information. Not really happening. Okay. And the thing that Let's I like try this about way. This is that right. When so somebody else you can see the green page right behind all of the pages that are going to be altered by the people in Round Robin. It's this lovely decorative paper that Tolly has chosen, and so that shows through a little bit, which gives this this particular cutout a little bit more interest. Right. You can see the green page. Okey doke. Right behind all of the pages that are going to be altered. But feel free to chime in. I'll just be talking to myself until then. Decorative paper that Tolly has chosen, and so that shows through a little bit. Things to fix first. This particular sometimes things pop up in a way that you didn't expect. Right. So there are repairs to be done. So feel free to chime in. Right. I'll just be talking to myself until then. Alrighty. For me, I like the glue stick when I'm working in something like this because it's what I would call a drier glue rather than like Elmer's. Like the kind of stuff that you used to put on your hand when you were a kid and then wait for it to dry and then peel it off. That way, I have a little bit more control over the moisture that's on the page, which is pretty important when you're working with paper. For me, I like the glue stick. It may be that you want to have this moisture, what I would call a drier bleeding through, but a lot of times you need a little bit more control there. Okay. Chose this paper because I'm just gonna have to move these. Chose this paper because I wanted to have the little boys above the dragon because sometimes I just feel like a dragon when I'm trying to get my kids to do stuff. It's a little annoying, but I guess I'll just have to live with it. Control over the moisture that's on the page, which is pretty important when you're working with paper. Dragon when I'm trying to get my kids to do stuff. Looks like technically I've done 15 minutes already or so. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to keep on going. You guys can hang out with me for as long as you want. Looks like okay. So let's not lose that again. There. I'm just going to keep on going. All right. You guys can hang out with me for as long as you want. This picture is one I took quite some time ago with my camera when I was still getting used to the idea of filters and all those good things. It's just me in the car quite some time ago with my camera sort of when I was still getting used melancholy to the look it has to it. Filters and all those good things. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build the just me to the car. Put some more stuff sort of on it. Melancholy look it has. I like this paper because it has these swirls and decorative loops that I really like. I'm not really a big fan of straight edges and straight lines. I like this paper because they have their place, but I'm not going to be using them right now. Swirls and decorative loops that I really like. I'm not really a big fan of. One reason why I want this particular paper is because it provides a nice they have their place, but I'm not going to be using them right now. Contrast, color-wise, to all the green and the blue. So it's possible I might put it right here, because it provides a nice maybe right here. Contrast, color-wise, to all the green and the blue. Not sure yet. But one thing I am really happy about is this little California, Oregon, Washington State cutout I made. Not sure yet. And collaged a bunch of papers on. Kind of used this as my model. California, Oregon, and I wanted to get across the idea that I've grown up and always lived in places where there's a variety of people and languages being spoken. And it's just kind of weird to me when people live in sort of these enclaves where everybody they see is almost exactly like them. I don't get that. It's just kind of weird to me when people want to know more about people. Sort of these enclaves. Want to see how they live. Everybody they see is almost hopefully exactly like them. I don't get that. They'll be interested in seeing how I live. I want to know more about people. So I want this line right here to sort of point towards where I grew up, which is this dot here. That's Los Angeles. And so right here to sort of what I'll do is I'll glue this down first. Which is this dot here. Oh, that's Los Angeles. And yeah, that'll work. What I'll do is I'll glue this down first. I used to think that little bitty glue sticks were the way to go. I've since learned that I go through itty bitty ones like a freight train. Going through whatever it is. Glue sticks were the way to go. I don't know, maybe tunnels. Since learned that I go through itty bitty ones like a freight train. Okay. And then what I'm going to do later is I'm going to sort of draw a line that extends the car door greenish line out to where that black dot is. So the line is going to sort of draw the eye that way. But that's a detail I'll have to get to later. Greenish line out to where. All right. That's black dot. Right, California. So show us how to party. Draw the eye that way. But that's a detail I'll have to get to later. Greenish line out to where. All right. Right, California. Show us how to party. Draw the eye that way. I get a lot of glue at the top. I'm actually leaving a little bit of unglued part down there because I might slip another paper underneath it. I get a lot of glue. Okay, so positioning. That's always fun. I'm actually leaving a little bit of. I have learned that sometimes unglued part down there because positioning accident can be fixed, and sometimes you just have to work around it. It's just not going to happen otherwise. Okay. I have learned wax paper. Your friend, definitely your friend. Accident can be fixed, and sometimes you just have to work around it. It's just not going to happen otherwise. Oh, don't have to worry about that. But just in case, wax paper. Your friend. Let's put this in here. That way I'm reasonably sure that I won't glue down something I don't want glued down. Oh, don't have to worry about that. But just in case. See, Polly, I'm working on your book. That way I'm sorry I'm late. Reasonably sure that I won't. You see this? I hate this. When you start running out of glue stick, fortunately, I have lots of glue sticks. So I'll just grab some in a bit. Alrighty then. Let's see. See this? I hate this. When you start running out of glue stick, fortunately, I have lots of glue sticks. Right. So I picked out a bunch of pieces. I'm not sure that which order I'm going to use them in. I have this scrapbooking paper that replicates the old blue chip stamps that people used to use to exchange for $1 million in prizes. I know some of my friends out there remember the real thing, and I think I kind of remember this one. Okay, alright, so what was I going to put on top of that? Not that. That. Let's see. Oh, that's right. Okay. This side? To this side. I kind of like this side better because it has more notes on it. But then again, I'm mostly using this as background. So 6.5, 6.5 in one hand, dozen in the other. One thing I've noticed about successful collages is that they tend to draw the eye in a steady line. So for example, I'm thinking this line created by the perforations of the blue chip might be more interesting to look at if I line up the music notation and clefs. Interesting. I look for echoes, I guess, or repetition of certain things, like curves or lines, like I was showing you earlier. Let's go with this. I love the colors there. All right. Let's some point, you just have to make the decision. If it's really bad, then you can always paint over it or rip it up and start again. Sometimes you get more interesting results when you rip things up. Just go all Bob Ross on it. Happy little accidents. Bring that down a little bit. Press it down. For the moment, I'm not terribly worried about that edge, but it is getting in my way. Bone folder. Very handy tool for almost anything. You see that I've got some gunk on it. It's probably old glue or paint or something like that. But it still works as advertised, so to speak. Use the edge right there, in case you've never used one of these things. Okay, need more glue. Just a minute, I know where I can find some more glue. Might be over here. No, I think I need to dive into the secret stash. All right then, that's better. Ta-da! More glue stick. Okay, ooh, nice and fresh. Just so fresh and clean. See? Really pretty. Okay. A little bit more. You're giving me a little bit of a hard time here. Sometimes you want to just use sort of like the end, the blunt end, sort of like a fingertip to press things down. Let's see, what do we got here? What do I got here? Somebody's been messing with my glue stick. I will exact revenge at a later date. Okay. So, for the moment, I'm going to leave this bit of Southern California and the border, the Mexican border, and Arizona border loose a little bit because, like I said, I might try to edge something back in there. Okay. All right. And as I was saying a little earlier, I have all these different languages patched along the west coast for the languages that are spoken, some of the languages that are spoken in the places I've lived. Like, for instance, down near Los Angeles, I have a snippet of a Hebrew newspaper ad. I have a snippet of a South American, actually, no, Central American piece of money that was blown up and made into a scrapbook page. Have the palm tree, La Palma, right there. And up here, a little closer to NorCal, as I used to call it when I was younger. In Northern California, I threw in a little bit of a Chinese newspaper ad. Oh, yeah. And I also added a little snippet of half a butterfly that fell out last time I was working on this. I think Polly actually did use this one before. Got a little bit of Spanish here because I grew up with a lot of people from Mexico, well, whose ancestry is from Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala. Let's see, other people. Those were the main ones because of history and politics. All right, and this one has a little bit of Russian on it, and I liked the eyes, so I used the I as an O, and so now it reads uncle. There's also some Chinese from another scrapbook paper. Let's see. Okay. Possibility. Ooh, look at that. I like that. Oh. See, I really don't want to block this edge, so I'm trying to be careful about that. Nah, that's not really doing anything for me. Change course. Thematically, I kind of like this because the music makes me think of like this Baroque pattern. Baroque is fun because it is so over the top. Okay. Alright. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this bouquet of flowers and this curlicue and this other bouquet of flowers depending on how far down it goes. The nice thing about collage is that you can always change your mind and cover it up. Then you can get all Pee Wee Herman and say, I meant to do that. Right. Okay, how far down should I go? Let's do this. Come around the corner. That bit. Okay, let's see if this works. I think that's just going to have to be made up by another small piece of paper or possibly some paint or maybe even some watercolor crayon. Have you ever tried watercolor crayons? They're pretty awesome. So how much of this bouquet do I want? Most of it, I guess. I don't know if you've heard the phrase kill your darlings, which is a phrase that I believe writers use sometimes to say that you can't get too attached to a creative idea because there might be something better waiting in the wings. And just because you like something that you've made a lot doesn't mean that it should stay in the finished piece. So I'm gonna kill a little bit of the darlings over there. Okay. Let's read this. Always good to keep scraps because you never know when you're going to need a piece of paper. It just happens to be the right color or shape. As you can imagine, a lot of collage artists have a hard time letting go of things. It's not hoarding if you use it someday in something. All right. Let's get this edge right here. And see, I'm looking at this bit right here. I try not to get too detailed with these edges because it's not the point of collage. The point of collage is to bring different things together, not get everything perfect. Okay, get that. Also, going for perfection brings out nasty tendencies in my brain, so I'm not going to do that. Alrighty then. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm positioning the curlicue underneath the musical notes so that the eye flows along with that. Okay, glue stick, do your thing. This one is not complying the way I had hoped. All right. What should I do about that? I think I will try another glue stick. Hopefully this one is a little bit better. Let's see. Ah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, that's fine. Perfectly good glue stick. Ruined. Maybe someday I'll figure out a use for dried out glue sticks. Ah, yes. I love that smeary feeling. Here's another collage hint or tip. It's a good idea to apply glue or your adhesive, whatever it is, onto both surfaces. The thing you're gluing onto, right here, or as well as the thing that you are gluing, right here. Because glue likes to have lots of tooth, which is like sort of texture to grab onto. Okay, where did we go? We had it about here. Yes. So we got this brayer here. And this is technically a printmaker's brayer, but I like the fact that the rolling bit is softer than some of the other ones, which are made of plastic. Okay. Okay, I'm sure you're sick of me by now, so I will finish up this side, and then I will release you in about 5 minutes. So then, you know, you can make bathroom runs and stuff like that. And then I will post my progress on my art page, Lisa Myers Bulmash, Mixed Media Artist, on Facebook. I will also post that progress on my Instagram, which is underscore Lisa underscore MB underscore. Right. Maybe a foot. That would be kind of cool. All right. Which means I'm going to have to cut in to get it. All right. So I'm looking at this particular rose. Rose right there and there. I'm thinking that I might be able to set it in here so that it looks like the rose is growing out of that curve. I'm not married to that line, but you know what, I have to come back to that. I'll have to let that marinate for a little bit. Okay. This is me as a kid. Let's put some white up over it. This. Okay. I'm thinking about using this image here. It's printed on a transparency, like the ones that your math teacher might have used to draw equations on, so everybody else could see it projected onto the wall. This is a picture of me when I was about, had to be about 7, I think. And I'm wearing my mother's sweatshirt because we are at an early morning track meet for my brother. And I have no body fat at this point, so I really, really need some help staying warm. Okay, so I'm thinking that I might put it over here, because this conveniently has the edge at the end of the paper, so it doesn't look like it just cuts off. Then I would probably cover up a lot of this. Oh, these are my dad's knees. And I would cut off this part so it doesn't land on top of what I've already got here. This enormous thing right here, that's my mom's old purse at the time. You know, the ones that were like catch-alls that you could probably hide a golden retriever in back in the 70s. So in order to make this work, I have to scratch this up a little bit. Because this way, the glue will have something to stick on. Let's see if we can't show you that. Let's see. You might be able to see a little bit of that. Yeah. Right. So when I actually commit to a spot, I'm going to use that scratched up area to hold down this image. Might have to do a little bit of scratching right there too, probably right there as well. So I've taken up enough of your time, I'm sure. I really appreciate you coming back and sticking around with me. And so the next time I'm going to be on Solidarity TV, SALT TV, will be Monday at around 11:45, barring any technical difficulties. All right. Thanks so much for watching. See you then.